A little pants fitting for panties? That's what I want to talk about today. Someone in my Facebook group asked a question about how to fit a panty or underwear pattern onto her shape, and it got me thinking. So I went online and I found a free PDF panty pattern, and I downloaded a hipster pattern because those are the kind that I like to wear. And so I'm contemplating maybe trying to make my first pair of underwear as a result of all of this as well. So if you look here, there are 3 pieces. This pattern is from Make Bra Shop, and I will put a link to this pattern in the description, so if you want to give it a try, you can. So I'm looking at the PDF pattern, and the instructions are very minimal on their website. They tell you in a few bulleted steps how to make these underwear. And the first step is you need to trace the pattern pieces because they overlap on each other. So you can see here we've got a bunch of dotted lines. So it's actually kind of cool. What you do is you take this piece and line it up with the dotted line underneath, and that will get me my back piece. And I'm just going to use my So Tights magnets to hold all this down so nothing shifts. Oh, let me move this one out of the way for a second. So I'm going to go ahead and trace the size large here. I'm just going to trace along. This is a straight line, so I'm just going to bracket the edges. And then it goes to here. And then it goes like this. And this is also a straight line right here. Okay. And this is the back. And this is a fold over here. So I'm just going to use my ruler to connect these lines on the straight parts. Oops. All right, and then over here. All right, so I've done, oh, wait a minute, let me get this one. All right, so there's one piece. This is the, well, let me just trace them first. All right, so I traced the back. Now I'm going to rejigger the pieces. So this piece I don't need anymore. So what I need now is this piece. I had, when I printed them, I printed on both sides and I had to reprint the middle piece. But basically now I'm going to flip it over and you can see we've got this short row of dotted lines. I'm going to line it up with this like this. So now I'm lining up the dotted lines there. This is kind of a clever way to do it because you don't have to trim anything. I just want to make sure I get it going here. Okay, and it looks like how it printed the rest of the size, my size large, is hanging off the edge. So I'm just going to add that back in, and I'll show you in a minute here. So let me just put some more paper. So again, I'm just gonna, okay, so what I'm gonna do here where I'm missing the center front is I'm just gonna bracket out where the medium is, and then I'm just gonna add the graded allowance onto that line, and that's how I can fix the fact that it didn't print completely on the paper. So no harm, no foul there. And I'm going to go ahead and follow my curved line like this to here. And then this is a straight line. So basically now watch what I'm going to do. This is the size medium. This is the size medium right here. And the grade between is a 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to push this out a 1/2 inch like this, so I can get my size large. Okay, so basically I'm just adding the size back in. All right, so there is that. Here is my other side seam. Okay, and the only other thing I have to trace here, and I'm just gonna trace right here. This is the liner. So let me just trace that. Just trace, this is the lining. Okay, and again, this is a straight line. Okay, so this is the front. This is the lining. All right, so now let me show you a few things that I think might be helpful to help you fit these. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut. Oh, also the pattern says there are no seam allowances. That's the other thing. So when I cut these out, I have to remember that. No seam allowances included. So I'm just going to cut it out without seam allowances. Oh, wait a minute. No, I don't want to cut that. Let me just cut them apart, because I want to show you some things. Okay, so I've got the back, got my front. I'm just going to get rid of some of this extra paper. All right. All right, so I think you can see, if we look at the front first, okay, you can see this is the center front fold. And you cut on the fold here, okay? So this is the shape of the leg opening. This is the side seam. This is the waist, okay? So you're gonna cut this on the fold. And this leg opening, the reason why it looks so curvy is because this is going to go towards the back. See how long this front crotch extension is? So this front crotch area curves to the back of the body like this, okay? And then it is attached here. So if I were to put them like this, you can see, let me just get rid of a little bit of this paper. You could see they would go together like this, and I'm just gonna fold this back so you can see. All right, so this is what the entire leg opening looks like. Let me put it this way so it's face up for you. Okay, so what I want you to notice here, and this is common in any sort of knit, leotards, underwear, anything that you are making out of a knit that's got an open leg opening. Notice the back leg opening doesn't curve up. It actually is straight, or sometimes it even curves down here. So if you think about the size or the shape of your behind, if you've got a prominent behind, you may make up these underwear and you know they're pooling. That's because you need more length here. So one thing you can do right out of the gate, and I like this because if it's not, you know, if you don't need it, you can cut it back off. But basically, I'm going to do it in a different color so you can see. You can actually add, you know, a little bit in the center of the back leg, and then, you know, sort of dip it out like this, and dip it back in like this. This extra right here will get drawn up when your behind is filling filling or stretching, when the fabric's stretching over your behind, this will pick up and look straight on your body. So you can add more there. And then the other thing you want to think about here is you've got a front and a back. You may need to fit this in a way where you need more length in the back or a lower, if you've got a lower curve in the back. What I recommend doing is when you cut out your underwear, like a test pair, if you go ahead and add a little bit to here, so that's why I didn't want to cut it out, because I wanted to add some. Let me just take that back. So literally I could add a little bit here, sort of a fitting allowance here. So when you go to sew it together, you have more room. And let me just add what I have here. I'm just going to add it in, okay? That will give you the ability to make it longer. And then when you've got it on your body, you can also change the leg opening. You can add to it or reduce it like I did here. So I think adding some extra in here, but base the seam together on the original stitching line first. And then if you find that it's pulling or you need more length, you can let this area out. And then once you've got it working, obviously, like let's say this was my final answer, you would probably need to, increase this like this, like blend it back in so you have the right shape. Because remember, your original shape was this here, right? It just made like a, it just curved in like this. So if you end up adding all of this, let's say, to give yourself more crotch length, then you would want to maybe fill this in like this to get that back. And then, as you can see, if you have a more prominent or curvy behind, adding here will give you more room for your behind. And you can play with how much the leg in the front comes up from your upper thigh. Like if you wanted it to be a little more coverage, you could also, do something like that and fill it in. And if you want it to be more cheeky or more coverage, you could do the reverse and it would pull up onto your cheek, and it would, you can get it to come up higher on your leg. I might even, on a test pair, add a center back seam and a center front seam with fitting allowances here so you can let them out or take them in at your center front and center back. So you have the ability to change this length here and let it out, or if you need to take it in, you can take it in. And it may be that if you have a low curve, you might just want to lengthen the back and leave the front the same. So the back has a little bit more room or length to reach down around a lower curve in the back to then, meet the front. So these are just a few simple things that I'm thinking about here in terms of, fitting a pair of underwear or an underwear pattern. I'm guessing some panty patterns might not have a seam through the crotch. So if that's the case, you can create a seam somewhere here, add allowances for fitting, and then tape it back together and make it a one-piece pattern that you cut on the fold if you wanted to do that as well. All right. So the last thing I just want to point out here is after you get your final answer for what's working here, you're going to make a like adjustment to your lining because the lining fits, right? So you want to make sure that if you lengthen here, you lengthen in here. And I would probably cut the middle and just lengthen it and then get that to fit back in. But if you do lengthen the crotch, you have to lengthen your lining too. Now that I've printed this out, I think I'm going to try it. I'm always struggling to find the right underwear. And I used to love these underwear that I got from Maidenform, and they had like just a little fusible tape around the waist and leg openings because I don't like anything squeezing me. And then when Jockey bought Maidenform, the tape started falling off. So I am not a fan of that anymore. So I've been going from style to style to style, trying to find underwear I like. I don't know, maybe I'm gonna use this pattern and try to make myself a pair. So if you want to give this a try, there is a link in the description below to this pattern, Make Bra Shop, and it's free. There are instructions. All right, so I thought this was a fun little look at my entree into possible panty making. We'll see. But I do think these things will help, fit a panty pattern. It's very similar to fitting pants in a way because you've got the leg and you've got the crotch. There just isn't any worry about the wrinkles on the leg. So if you have any questions or comments, please post those below and I will help you. If you're enjoying my content, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel because it helps me grow. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day.